when was it this turning point for you? Was there a turning point? Because you were saying, well, despair, and I think, well, if you look back to your earlier lyrics, it's maybe more personal, more dark. Was there a sort of turning point? I mean, maybe becoming a father, or what?
It was completely an accumulative effect. I mean, it began with me becoming a father. It began with me taking on a lot more responsibility by being a father, and that taught me to take more responsibility with the band. You know, to kind of take a bit more responsibility for the actions of what the band does. And
when was this?
Well,
2000 or 2001?
Around about 2002, things began to change in my life, but for the better. And recently, coming up to this album, there was a friend of the band's, a drummer called Keith Baxter. He used to be in a band called Three Colours Red. And before Neil Cooper joined the band, Three Colours Red drummer Keith stood in for us on a Scandinavian tour and some festivals. And he came along and he drummed, and last January he died, and he was 36 years of age.
How?
It was alcohol related. Nobody had seen it coming. He was in his house one night at midnight with his partner. He said, "Oh, I feel a bit unwell." She drove him to the accident in emergency, and 2 hours later he was dead. Liver, I think liver, 2 heart attacks, all within the space of an hour. And it was a complete shock. So we went to his funeral, and because there were many musicians there, you know, because he knew everybody. He was a really lovely guy. Many of these musicians were the same age or older, and all of us in that room knew, well, when you go on tour, you drink, you do drugs, you party. That could have been any one of us, and it wasn't. At 36 years of age, I'm now 43. And then about 5 months later, I had really bad health problems. I suffer from asthma, and at one point it was actually looking quite serious. It was fortunately just a blip, just a scare. But that
in what way was it serious? I mean, you really had serious.
I had serious problems with respiratory problems, and I had to go and get all kinds of tests, and I was on all kinds of medication. And we couldn't get to the bottom. It's now manageable. It's fine. But I had that classic thing. I had to wait for test results for about 3 weeks. I had no idea what was going on. All kinds of shit was going through my head.
What do you think then?
So, I don't know. I feel. No, I don't really feel justified to talk about it now because I got an all clear. But at the time, for 3 weeks, obviously all kinds of rubbish is going through your head. You're thinking, well, if my life is going to be cut short, I'm going to have to find a way to deal with this. And then, you know, whenever it was all clear, it was whenever that weight had been lifted, and obviously the whole thing that happened with Keith, it kind of makes you realise that an awful lot of the things that you get hung up on, especially when you're in a band, are absolute complete bullshit. You know, it's not, compared to what other people go through, having, you know, a chance to be a musician and play over the world, and getting worried about whether one record's as successful as another, or whether, you know, you're going to have another record deal next year, it all doesn't really matter anymore. And to be honest, with that mindset, then actually, I think it made us better musicians and a better songwriter. Michael,
How come?
Because it made me more true to myself again. I mean, it made me think. I think that, to sort of elaborate a little bit on it, the problem with therapy is that because we have had successful records in the 90s, every time we change record labels, you meet people from the record label and they say to you, "Yep, you guys, you know, you've done what you wanted for the last 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 15 years. We're not going to stand your way. You guys, full artistic control." But what they really want to say is, please, can you write another Troublegum so that we can sell lots of records? You'll make lots of money, I'll make lots of money, everyone will be happy. But it's the music business, right? So it's full of bullshit. So no one says, please, can you write a successful record? So we'll write the music that we always write, because success in a, you know, TV celebrity has never appealed to us. Creative success has. So then we'll make these records that aren't as successful as records we made in the 90s, and everyone panics, you know, from the management, the record label, everyone panics. And it leads to a really awful atmosphere, because no one's being honest. You know, we're just doing our own thing.
But did